Hi, Vinny. Charlie Taylor said on Saturday after Bournemouth that you're the most positive person around the club still, despite the results. Is that just your sort of nature? Is that just the way you are?
No, but I think it's a matter of going to the essentials of what you're demanding from them. So I wouldn't have been the most positive or happy person after the Brentford game, and I would have been very hard on them as well, because I think that you're responsible every day to bring the best you can bring to the table. And I felt on the day it wasn't, for whatever reason, whether they come back from internationals and whatever. I've seen it happen before. There's no team that doesn't go through a game like this, and that was our game. In terms of the Bournemouth game, for as much as I despise the individual errors that we had to face in that particular game, it's been in every flavour, right, individual errors. But that's also the nature of the level. You're getting stressed to your maximum on everything you do, whether it's a long ball in behind is not the same as a long ball in behind against in the Championship. When you have the ball, it's not the same as in the Championship. When you're having to defend a set piece, it's a different level. So I can put that into context, and then if they've given everything, I think what we need to do is help them to get better. But that's only under the condition that they absolutely do their utmost best throughout the week and in games. And normally that's something that lives in our squad.
Is there anyone or anything that keeps you so upbeat? Because you do seem a very positive person.
Yeah, positive sounds naive. I'm not that, like, that's not my nature. What I am is what I've done is at the very beginning of this season, I've set out a very realistic picture, and we've discussed a very realistic picture of what this season would be and the challenges we would have to face. I'm not having to share that in August and say that I predicted, because otherwise it's kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy. But none of the things that have happened now have really been a surprise, and still the opportunities are there for us. And then I'm trying to focus on, why would I get myself involved into an emotional roller coaster when we knew that this was a possibility, and there's so much still for this team to grow. And that's for me the most important thing. And I think it's something throughout my career that I've seen always lead to eventually successful periods. It's when you can keep that consistency.
And just one more, Vinny, on Wednesday night, did you take the chance to speak to Sean Dyche? Because obviously he would have had many seasons like this, seasons that were difficult but turned out okay.
Yeah, we get this. The difference with the Championship and the Premier League is you go into the Championship and you got 3 interviews to do after the game, and you can sit, have a coffee and a beer if you like after the game with the opposition staff and manager. In the Premier League, you've got so many things to do after the game that you hardly get the time to say hi to each other, or the bus is waiting for you to leave. And so there'll be other moments, but I still have a lot of staff here present that have been in this situation. And the one thing I take from it is, I think one of them mentioned about, we had 12 points after 19 games one year, and the biggest thing everybody says is that you have to stay calm, stay together. And I can see as well that this club is absolutely that way. If I compare it to what I've seen sometimes in other places, we're driven. We're not happy. We're not winning, but we're conscious of the type of journey this is.
Vinny, just in terms of the home games, the club's talking about bringing in flags to try and, I don't know, maybe create a better atmosphere. What's your view of that? Where do you stand on trying to create atmospheres, or is Turf Moor okay as it is?
The Turf Moor's always been great. It's been one of the most, pleasing things of my time at Burnley. It's getting on that pitch at Turf Moor. So it's always been good for us, and we've always had a lot of support. Whether the club and the fans together decide to see if they can add even 1%, I think that's a natural thing you want to try and do. I think they're passionate about their club, about their town, and they want the club to they want to give the players and the especially the players the biggest chance of being successful out there on the pitch, and whatever they feel would add 1%. I mean, I'm always in favor of them trying, but they're having discussions. I'm focusing on other things at the moment, and trust them to deliver like they've done on so many occasions for us.
And then just second question, Vinny, just in terms of experience, in terms of Premier League experience, is there enough of that in your squad to make this jump up from the Championship to the Premier League and survive?
I think it's a fair question, but my God. So if I try and explain a little bit, again, I'm going to be open, so you have to manage your headlines. Are you able to do that actually when I say that? Because you're always laughing at me. Like, yeah, good one.
The problem with that is that we file the copy, we send a story in, and then the people in London, they will mark out the piece, and then they write their own headlines. So we have no say on it. So we're like, we see it the next day, and oh my God. Right?
Yeah.
So always try to do is just.
Can you not get on the phone to them and just say like, or tweet about it? This is out of context.
What we say, then they can't write the headline.
So what's the advice to me? Say what I really think, or?
Kompany says possibly a difficult game. There we go.
No, but the context about your question, I'll try and be truthful again. You know, you're left with a few choices. So you come up, and the range of players. So start from the start. Last season, you have to make a decision on what players get you up a division. The type of talents you can bring in by doing loan players is higher than what you can afford if you went into the market when you're a championship team. So you bring in 5 or 6 loan players, like every club does in the championship. They help you go up. Now, when you go up, those 5 or 6 loan players are gone. Or if you want to buy them, you get quoted a price that is maybe even not affordable to you anymore, which is 20 million and above, you know? And at that moment in time, you have a decision to make where, you know, how are you going to get those 5 or 6 players, you know, how are you going to replace them to even have the same level as you had in the championship the year before? And you know, usually that starting point for us is already expensive because you have to create a Premier League squad, not a championship squad. So what I'm trying to say is then you bring in players. Now, for the budget we're spending to try and bring in experienced Premier League players, forget about it. Wages, transfer fee, no chance. At the moment, I think that if you survive 1 year, you can do it, but not in the first year in that way, or you pick up free transfers and whatever. But then you have the same situation as when we went down the year before, where if you go down, you come down with a squad that gets completely depleted because either you can't afford the wages or you can't sell anyone, and you get into a real dangerous territory if you come down, you know? So the decision where we're at the moment, you have a whole bunch of players who don't have Premier League experience, but who have Premier League potential, mixed with a few players who have Premier League experience, because you can still name the players in our squad who do have Premier League experience. And that's a formula that we try and have at the moment to say, okay, what is our upside if we stay up? What is our downside if we stay down? So I've given you the most context on this question just because I think it's important to know that it's not like we're left with a choice of fill it with experienced players, because what you then do for the club can have big consequences afterwards as well, or fill it just with kids. It's that balance that you have to find. And then I want to say you can find every flavor of squad design and still quality defines everything. And that's why at the moment, you know, it's absolutely normal that we're in a position where, you know, we're playing catch up, and I think we might as well try and enjoy it whilst we're doing it, and try and be together, try and, you know, be the club that can be that. Because I'm telling you now, the way this league is evolving, you know, they can do whatever they want, you know, close shop, not close shop. It's gonna be continuously tough, and yeah.
Thank you. Just finally with the Athletic.
Hi, Vinny.
So how you gonna headline this one? Because it's you're not gonna be able to even write it down, innit? But at least you know.
Just in terms, you mentioned that you'll be without a couple of players, and you've sort of had to change the team quite frequently this season. How have you found balancing those, the sort of, the changes that you've had to make because of various things, form, fitting in 15 new players? Just how have you found balancing that? Because you had to do that last season as well, but I guess different kettle of fish when it's in this league as well.
Yeah, and it has different consequences, but it's something I'm very aware of, definitely, and but for if you lose Bayer, if you lose if you lose Foster, if you lose the names of the players that we've all lost, Ekdal, whatever, it's difficult to impose that. I think as well when you're exposing a whole bunch of lads to a new level, you have to also allow yourself to see what they do at this level. There's a very important part of it as well. To let them be confronted by this level, and then at some point it has to settle. It will, but it's not been all of our choosing at the moment. I think that's fair to say, and hopefully with the next international break, that it'll settle down a little bit, and we can kind of settle into the next few games. But yeah.
And just one more for me, just in terms of the players, the staff, just what has been the most encouraging thing that you've seen from the responses to setbacks?
Attitude, hard work. I can't stress enough how I wish the people in Burnley could see more how much work is put behind the scenes, because I think they'd feel proud. And obviously the ultimate thing is to make them feel proud when we're on Turf Moor on Saturday. But it's the right type of people to get behind, people working late, big shifts, players willing to learn, players willing to work hard, putting the foot in training. So all those things that made us good last year are still there. And we're fighting a level that we want to belong at, to, and it's not going to be easy, but I do feel that there is also this excitement about trying to do it. That excitement is there.
Cheers, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, guys.